You're listening to Me and Paranormal You with your host, Ryan Singer. It's more fun to believe. Third year bonus. Get out those records. I'm Casey Kasem. You're listening to America's Paranormal Top 40 of the year 2024. So keep us on your radio dial and let us entertain you for a while. I'm Casey Kasem. I am the ghost of Casey Kasem. That's not a bad Casey Kasem. I'm Casey Kasem, America's Top 40. It's not my best Casey Kasem. It just kind of happened, kind of came to me. I should be doing a top 40 paranormal events of 2024. That would be a great end of the year episode. Why am I just now thinking of this after nearly 11 years? I apologize to everyone who's ever listened to anything I've ever said. I'm Casey Kasem. Any hoodles. Here we are. New Year's Eve is when this will be released. What a year in the world of the paranormal. Talk about ending with a flourish. All this drone stuff. I mean, Dr. Stephen Dreer. Dr. Stephen Dreer. I'm Dr. Stephen Dreer. Everything is bad. It's like a spoof on Dr. Stephen Greer, I guess. We understand what it is. I don't have to explain it. Dr. Stephen Greer, apparently, I haven't had time to listen to it or watch it. A new video was just released, apparently. I don't know if it was definitively saying what the drones were or not, but I think we kind of covered over here that it was a Space Force thing, probably. Christmas Eve was supposed to be a big day where something big was supposed to happen by Christmas Eve. I think that's some QAnon stuff, conspiracy, prophetic, conspiratorial proclamations. Drones being co-opted, and we talked about QAnon just co-ops every conspiracy theory that's ever existed and makes it about number 45 or whatever. But it's just ridiculous. As the billionaires line up, 13 billionaires in the cabinet of the recently elected president, with the American, with blue collar Joe. His best interests will be held up to the highest standards with 13 billionaires in the cabinet. Wow. Oh yeah, probably can't lower the cost of food and gas and all that stuff. Sorry. I laugh because what other choice do you have? The world of the paranormal has been such a frenzied place recently. We talked last week about how weirdos have become information outposts, and Smoke Singer showed up. Disclosure Cowboy was kind of hanging out. Somebody else was around too. I don't remember. I should go back and listen to see who popped in. But I hope that we can look back on the year 2024 and we can see that it was a major stepping stone into what will be more disclosure and more paranormal awareness in the year 2025. I am still listening to the telepathy tapes. I've had a very busy week, as I'm sure all of you have, with holiday stuff or whatever you celebrate and who you celebrate with and how you celebrate. That's up to you. I hope it's been fun, enjoyable. I hope you've had some fellowship and shared some love and some laughter. I've had some incredible shows. We've got a couple shows tonight at the Commonwealth Sanctuary in Dayton, Kentucky, just on the other side of the river from Cincinnati. And then I'll be flying back to the beautiful city of Los Angeles, California, where I call home. And I'm very excited. I've been away from home for 3 weeks, so I'm ready to get back and then pack up Goldie. That's my Forester, and start hitting the road and making some trips. I need to go up to Central California and go see a Bigfoot spot. I need to go back to Mutilation Ranch. I need to go to Mount Shasta. I need to somehow figure out how to make money to pay for all of these things. Well, it's just called being a person. You do whatever you got to do. I will sell my plasma, any fluid that my body makes, I will sell for money. Yes, that means everything you think it means. So I do want to tell you the telepathy tapes. I'm about halfway through the podcast. Still, I'm loving it. I look forward to a day when people don't have to talk about risking their reputations to report on paranormal stuff in a serious way. There have been, there's thousands, there's hundreds and thousands of people who have been doing that for years, and part of me gets annoyed when I hear that. And I don't get annoyed at the person, but although sometimes I think we take ourselves a little too seriously about like how much we're actually risking. But then again, I'm in a profession that the risk is much lower than if I was a scientist or et cetera, or even a filmmaker, I suppose. I don't know. If you're a documentarian, if you're considered to be a serious filmmaker, to approach a subject that is so woo-woo, I guess, as telepathy, even though it's been studied for years. Since the 19th century. And there are many scientists and doctors who, very, very smart people, who have dedicated their lives to parapsychology. And, they just don't get any attention, right? Unless you go looking for them. That's when you find them. Some of them have been on this show. And, many more have not. And we're waiting for emails back from those people. I got to tell you, we're waiting for emails back from those people. Email us back. Let's get on the show. I want aliens on the show. I want more aliens on the show. I would interview a ghost. I would interview a creature. I would interview an alien. I want to interview these quote unquote people as well, or just anybody who has a story to share. That's what 2025 is going to be. I am going to make predictions. For the first time ever, I am going to put my intuition on the line. Okay? I'm going to put my reputation on the line, and I'm going to make bold predictions for the year 2025. And hopefully I'll remember to circle back at the end of next year and see if I was correct in any of my super bold predictions. We're talking the boldest predictions anyone has ever made for the upcoming year. Now, is there exaggeration? My first prediction is that I will be exaggerating to finish this year, which I am doing currently. So, but yes, there will be bold predictions in this show. I will make predictions. I have no idea what they are. I'm trying not to even think about them. I'm trying not to have any ideas or things like that in my mind. So that's why I'm talking so fast, because I don't want to think about stuff. But I want to talk to you about telepathy tapes. Still wonderful, incredible. Can't recommend it enough. Dr. Jeff Tarrant shows back up on episode 4 for a decent amount, and I'm guessing he'll be back more as well. And I think they're going to get into, I don't know, I think they're going to get into the history of parapsychology maybe, and the study of some of this stuff a little more maybe in depth later as the episodes unfold. I'm not 100% sure. Emotional stuff, deeply human and vulnerable storytelling from the subjects. And we love that here. We love vulnerability. We love Brene Brown. We love everything in that sphere. Cannot recommend it enough. I believe, here's my first bold prediction. The telepathy tapes will be referenced as one of the game-changing programs that opened up people to this stuff. Okay. That's a prediction maybe. I think it's accessible to the normal world in a way that, because it has enough scientific people kind of like coming in on it, right? And there's also evidential audio happening. It doesn't just tell you about this stuff that's possible. You're actually able to witness it by listening to it as it's unfolding. So it's pretty, it's beautiful. Can I just say that word? I don't need to use any other adjectives other than it's beautiful, and I highly recommend it. I mean, there's lots of shows I recommend. I mean, Euphomet is beautiful. Paranormal Karen is beautiful. The telepathy tapes is beautiful. Okay. We strive for beauty here at the program. Okay, yes. Well, there's a commercial coming. Should I wait? Nigel is waving his arms at me furiously. He wants to get in over here. But there's a commercial break coming up here in about a minute, so we're just going to... Nigel, can you just... Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, I'll unmute your microphone when we come back from commercial. So when we come back, it's going to be Nigel probably talking. But anyway, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to make predictions for 2025. I'm going to put my intuition on the line. Have I been developing my psychic abilities over the last 11 years, much in the way I would have hoped? I look back and I'm like, 11 years. I should be so fucking psychic by now. But I should be so good at psychicness. So I'm going to put my intuition and my psychic abilities to the test and on the line in a prediction episode. For the first time ever, I will be making psychic predictions for the upcoming year. They will be personal about my life. Whoa, we're going to get vulnerable. We're going to open up. And then also in general, and then also for the world, and then also for the universe. We're going to go micro to macro and then maybe bring it back with another micro one. I don't know what these are yet, but we're going to figure it out as we go. We're on a journey together. Isn't that beautiful? I'm so jazzed up right now thinking about it. It's like I'm drinking energetic citrus drop. I'm getting dropped up energetically, getting drip, dropped. We're going to be right back. Patreon.com/Ryan Singer. $3 a month. No commercials ever, 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 and ever.
And here we are. We're back with the program. Happy Yuletide season to all who celebrate this wondrous time of year where it's quite cold, where Ryan is, from what he's been saying and what he texts me every morning. Well, let's be honest, every afternoon I will receive an SMS message that might as well be an SOS message, complaining about how it's 42 degrees where he is in Ohio, when it should be 75 degrees, I suppose. I heard Los Angeles had days in the 80s, just quite recently. Nonetheless, I am here to hold Ryan accountable for the year.
What?
2024.
Wait, what? You're here to? Did you just say you're here to hold me accountable?
Yes,
for the year?
That's right, I did. I'm going to hold you accountable, and I'm going to start off by saying, well done this year. I think you did. I think you did all right this year.
Are you serious? You're seriously saying I did good? Here?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm saying it as well, actually, to be quite honest with you. I'll surprise myself by saying it.
Well, yeah, I am surprised as well, but I appreciate that. I guess I'll hold you accountable and say that I think you did a great job too, Nigel.
Oh, do you mean that then, Ron?
I certainly do. You kept the ship's rudder in the water, I guess. If that's, I don't know how. I don't know much about boats.
No, clearly you don't know much about boats, because that's not. I don't know much about boats either, but I know enough about boats to know I don't know about boats, but to also know that's not a thing people say when it comes to doing a good job. But I'll take it. I'll take it either way. But anyway, I'll stay focused here, because you are going to do bold predictions, putting your intuition and your psychic prowess on the line.
Yep.
And then I will be holding you accountable for this a year from now.
Oh, you will? So you're going to be here in a year? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I guess I didn't think about that, but I suppose that's what it's implying then.
I guess it is.
I guess so then.
I guess this might be the first time I've heard you laugh, Nigel. And this is the first time I think we've ever gotten you to laugh on the microphone. This is incredible. I wish I would have predicted that. I would have been I wouldn't have felt bold enough to be able to make such a prediction. Okay, so in the attempt of keeping me accountable, I got it from here, Nigel. Thank you for everything you've done this year. I look forward to having you for a whole another year. It sounds like that's exciting for me. Let's get back into the program here. So I'm going to make some bold predictions for 2025, and we're going to start micro, and then we're going to go more macro, and then we'll come back and top it off maybe with another micro one. So my first prediction for 2025 for me personally, okay, my prediction is that I will be I don't know, and this is hard when you're trying to do a psychic reading for yourself, right? It's not really something psychics do. And I'm not calling myself a psychic right now, but I definitely have psychic abilities and intuition, much like you do as well, if you're listening to this program, and everyone does. I have a sense, right? I have had the sense for quite some time that something large is tumbling down the mountain toward me. Not in a not, and it's not in a good bad way. Not in a good way or a bad way. A good bad way, right? So it's neither of those necessarily. But I think there is going to be something. I predict that in 2025, and in my life, whether it's my personal life or my career, I don't really have a sense of either way. I want to be leaning towards my I can't really sense that right now. But what I'm getting is there is something that is going to happen in the next year for me in my life that is going to be it's going to be like shocking for me, in not a bad way, not a good way, right? But it's and what I mean by that, it's something that I never would have anticipated happening for me in my life, one way or the other. Like, I'm going to be either doing something that I never in a million years would have guessed I'd be doing, maybe some kind of project, or I'm going to be, oh God, I'm getting this isn't me being funny right now, but I'm honestly genuinely trying to do this right now. I'm sensing myself being relocated, and I don't know what that means, right? I am being relocated somehow, and I'm not being upended, but I am definitely being relocated is kind of what the sense is. So something, whether it's, and, I hesitate to get into specifics and get too specific about it, but I mean, that's what would make a bold psychic prediction, right? Is actually specificity. It's either, and I don't know if it's my career, like I'm being relocated into a different area of my life in my career where I'm seeing right now. I just saw balance. I saw those scales, like the scales, those, you know what a scale is, like the scales of justice or whatever they are. I'm seeing them go one way, meaning like, it's like I've been spending a lot of time doing I've had a bunch of things on the scale, and one of them is getting super heavy and taking over in 2025. I sense that there is something that is relocating me and my energy, if that makes sense. It's my focus. It's my energy. I am being relocated into that. And quite possibly with that comes a relocation of physical location of the physical space that I'm occupying. Something completely unexpected. Even though I'm getting the sense that it shouldn't be that unexpected, because maybe it's something I've been working towards for a while and it's, adjacent to that in some way, but I will be relocated, and I will go somewhere else. I will be excited about going somewhere else, and I don't know what that means. I feel like it has something to do with my focus. And okay, because to be clear, right now, these are the things I'm doing. I primarily make my living doing stand-up comedy, and that's why I have so much credit card debt. I do the podcast, which is, we have the Patreon page, and there's a little bit of ad revenue a month, but you're looking at maybe $150 a month in ad revenue. I mean, it doesn't matter. I don't care about talking about money with you. So you figure $150 a month I make on ad money. So the paranormal podcast in the paranormal world, I'm not making any real money. Like, you would hesitate to call it income, right? So you have the podcast, which is, not nearly weighing as much on the scale as the stand-up comedy, right? Because I do get royalties each month from, streaming and from satellite radio. They should be more, quite frankly. I'd like to think that my comedy is good enough to be just surviving off of that. But we will get there hopefully someday. But that's the main thing, right? And so then gigs and getting paid for live gigs. That's like the heaviest thing on the scale. Then the paranormal is very light, And then, I'm writing a book, which is zero money, right? I'm writing another book, which is, soon, which is zero money. I'll be editing a new documentary, which is a personal project. So that's not money. I mean, all those things that are free are money out, right? Those aren't money in gigs. And I will literally I will do odd jobs for people from time to time if they need a video editing quick job or something like that. I do that kind of stuff. It's not very often, but I will do it, especially when I need money. And I sell baseball cards on my eBay store, which is very little money. And I don't know, maybe I made maybe $3,000 this year doing that. So something that's outside of those things, something outside of my eBay collectibles life, something outside of the paranormal, something out of the stand-up. I don't know what that means, right? So something is going to be relocating me, and it's going to be not shocking, but it's going to be maybe unexpected, and it's also going to be very rewarding for me. That's the sense I get. Whatever this thing is, I will be rewarded, and then maybe, maybe I'll be, for the first time in my life, I will probably be in a financial situation where I'm not like, oh, all the time. Yeah, I don't mind ambiguity in my life, right? We've talked about this on the program before, why certain psychologists won't get into parapsychology because there's too much ambiguity. And some people can't handle it. Some people need firm. They need clarity. It needs to be crystalline clear. Ambiguity is not for the faint of heart or the weak of stomach, I suppose, when it comes to a career year to year, wondering. I don't know. I think you get it. There's all kinds of types of people in the world. I'm one of the types of people who doesn't need a 401k or a savings or retirement account, because I'm too busy living, I guess, in the moment. I'm not. If I had children, I'm sure this would be a different conversation that you'd be hearing me have right now. Maybe as a child. Am I having a child this year? I would say that would shock me. Me here. I would say that would be a little bit shocking to me, to say the least, if I were to have a child this year. So I don't think that's what the relocation means. I'm getting the sense that it's something that I'm super excited about being a part of and working on, that I wasn't, maybe I'm not the person who came up with it, right? I think that's what this is. A ton of projects that I'm working on, these are conceived, for the most part, they're conceived by me, right? So I think what's going to happen here is I'm being relocated for a period, and I think it's a temporary period of time. I don't think it's a full-time relocation, by the way. I think it's, maybe I just have to be somewhere else. I mean, this would make me tend to believe that it's some kind of filming project if I have to be on location somewhere for like an extended period of time. It's going to be super rewarding, and also something that I couldn't predict or I didn't plan for necessarily. That's the first prediction. Okay, that was a very long-winded first prediction, but that's for me personally, on a personal. I mean, I will be relocated next year. I will be relocated next year for something shocking and super rewarding that I was not in charge of, that I did not conceive of myself. So, and I think it might be the thing that will be the most successful for me. And that's great. I love being a part of other people's things. I'm very good in collaboration. So in case you're out there and you're wondering, should I collaborate? I think collaboration is one of the great joys of life. So you should collaborate. Every chance you get, you should collaborate with someone. You can learn lessons, you learn new skills, you new things. Anyway, every time I'm on a parallel investigation, every time I'm a parallel investigator. I am not a paranormal investigator. I am a parallel investigator. So I travel into other dimensions. I went to Parallel U. Remember that one? Parallel Universe. Our mascot was the wormholes. Okay, so before I go off on diatribes here and just start riffing on a bit that maybe I'm the only one who likes, let's get into another bold prediction for the year 2025. Here is a bold prediction. This is a not so bold prediction for the year 2025, but full disclosure will not happen. I tend to believe that the momentum of disclosure is at such a frenzied pace right now. It's almost impossible to believe that full disclosure won't be here by the end of 2025. And what I'm sensing is that it will not be. That full disclosure will not be here. But this is what will be here. You will have a majority of the population, and this is the tipping point potentially. You have the majority of the population will no longer be wondering if they believe in aliens, because they will, and they have seen something, they have experienced something, or very simply, they are now willing to talk about the things they've seen or experienced in a way that people have not been ever before. And we have been doing that over the last few years, to be clear. The last 10 years, I feel like we have been slowly but surely, more and more people are speaking out about their experiences, more people are open to it. With that comes hand in hand, there has been some degradation of the faith in science, and I think that has a lot to do with the heavy hand of materialism, trying to make people feel stupid and marginalized when they bring outside ideas of curiosity into the picture. Now, so you could say it's science's own damn fault. I don't love the idea of everyone just losing faith in vaccinations and science and medicine that clearly has had a huge, huge part in prolonging the life of human beings and making life better for those of us who get sick and or injured and need surgery and or medication. Modern medicine and science has done an exceptional job of being able to help the hurt and cure the sick. Now, what I mean here is that I think there will be a continued degradation in faith in science in general, but that's only because of a gatekeeper problem of information. And it'll actually be a trickle-down effect that is real, unlike Reagan's bullshit trickle-down effect, which was never going to happen, just a way to stuff the coffers of the rich more. Now, the majority, I would say 60%, I would not be surprised that the major news outlets have polls. There will be polls. It will be news stories. Next year, there will be major news stories that show that at least 60% of the United States and the world believe in aliens and UFOs. And it should be 100, by the way, already. But I don't know what the number is now, but I think it'll be a major news story for a long period of time. It won't be these sightings that show up and everyone talks about them for 12 hours and then it's on to the next thing. Excuse me. We're going to see a change in that. This UFO, this alien thing will take over at some point next year and become the topic of conversation. Instead of people talking about the weather, they will be talking about disclosure. That is a bold prediction for this country anyway. For next year, over 60% of people who are Americans in this country, documented or undocumented, you're an American in my book. If you're here, you're living here, and you plan on staying here, you're part of the group. Okay, you're part of the family. There should be food on the table for you. 60% of us, of these people that I'm talking about in the United States, will believe definitively in not only UFOs, but aliens. Part of that, which will be a different discussion for another time, is the nature of where they are from and how they are here and how we perceive them. That is a whole nother thing. You have a senator saying that, asking questions in an open hearing, asking about whether UFOs are biological or not, yet she can't accept the fact that there are more than two genders on human beings. It's like, this is a joke is this the craziest thing that occupies the same person's mind, that they can't conceive of gender being a spectrum of some kind, yet they are asking on the record if the UFO ships are alive. So ships can be alive, but people can't not be he or her. You understand how crazy this is, right? That is the craziest. That is the most ridiculous thing that I have heard in the last 2 months, for sure. Very, very, very strange, and very perplexing how one could have such an open mind in one area and such a closed, bigoted mind in the other area. But yeah, so those are two predictions right now. Something unexpected is going to happen for me that will reward me and that I love, and I will be relocated because of it. And it won't be my idea. And 60% minimum of Americans will believe in UFOs, and more importantly, they'll believe in aliens. So there's two. We're going to do some more bold predictions when we get back that might not be about UFOs and aliens and stuff. Who knows what they're going to be about? Maybe they'll be about you, okay? Or maybe we should make a bold prediction for the show. We're going to be right back. Patreon.com/Ryan Singer. $3 a month gets you no commercials ever. And I'm kind of shorting the hosting platform wants me to do more commercials, but I'm doing fewer breaks, more commercials in the break. Let me know if you like that or if you want more breaks, fewer commercials. We can figure it out. We'll find a happy medium. Be right back. And I'm back. And I got to tell you, I'm excited because we're doing bold predictions for 2025. I'm putting my intuition and my psychic prowess to the test. Never before done on this program until now. I have predicted that I will be relocated in a very rewarding way, in an unexpected way this year. And I think it's, and by we, I mean the people in my head, we think it's going to be work related. So I can't really pin that one down, but I sense, I'm going to close my eyes here. That is weird. I'm seeing a flower of a crown of flowers. And I don't want to say that's a marriage. I'm not going to go as far to say that. I'm seeing like a white crown of flowers. I'm seeing a setting sun coming through trees. That's what I'm seeing. That's the imagery that I just saw just now. It's actually kind of freaking me out a little bit. What does the setting sun indicate other than the end of an era? Which will then maybe lead to the dawning of a new day. I don't. What is the crown of flowers? I don't know. Second bold prediction: 60% of Americans will believe in aliens and UFOs, and it will be a major news story that most Americans now believe and are, in fact, this is the second part of it. It's coming to me. We will be demanding. There will be more and more people. Everyone will be demanding disclosure, and disclosure will happen in the more complete way. 2026 still feels early for me, but maybe then. But it still feels a little early for me. It's definitely and trust me, I can't wait to be wrong on this one, because I would love for full disclosure to happen in 2025. I really would, and I hope that I'm wrong on this. I am sensing that it will not. So, okay, moving on. Let's see here. Just trying to come up with another random bold prediction. Let's see if there's anything that just kind of comes to me. We're not going to make any bold predictions about this show. It's just a podcast. I'm not going to do that. I don't know what other. Okay, about the world. Okay, let's see if I can get a message, or if I can see some insight about the future regarding the world. I feel like climate change gets worse. And This one, I saw red. I saw the Earth and I saw red. I feel like climate change takes a big step forward in the wrong direction, and I feel like there will be much in the same way people will no longer be able to deny the existence of aliens and UFOs. Many of the holdouts on climate change, that man has affected our ability to, live on this earth and under optimal conditions. Many of the holdouts who believe that, surely there's no way we could affect such a thing, will have their tail between their legs, and they'll swallow their pride, and they will admit that they were wrong. And that is because they will be forced to by nature's events. And I think that I don't think that there's going to be some grand famine or anything like that. I'm not sensing that. But what I'm sensing is we have a change in the baseline coming next year. And that change in the baseline will be drastic enough, even though seemingly somewhat subtle on paper for those of us who don't understand numbers and just the basic, when you hear it changed 2 degrees, big deal, or something like that. Even though it will seem small, it'll be drastic, and it will be a baseline change, and it will make everyone who has been a holdout on that STFU about it. And that also, I'm sensing that 2025 is going to be the year of demands. And I'm sensing that it'll be citizen demands that will eventually enact huge change for the better when it comes to the future of the human species. Okay, this is the overall, I'm getting a positive overall message here. And if I'm correct, right, what we are doing here is people are coming together. They are, we've been pushed and pushed and pushed apart, right? And everything is in cycles. Everything is cyclical. We're rubber bands. Imagine human beings are one rubber band. We have been stretched and stretched and stretched apart. And guess what's getting ready to happen? We're getting ready to snap back together, and we're going to be tighter, and we're going to be closer, and we're going to be coming back together, and we're going to be more firm and solid and unified in a voice. And that voice will be multiple things. It will be demanding disclosure, which will be happening, I believe, 2026. I'm getting the sense that we might be pretty close to full disclosure by the end of 2026. But the machinations will be happening. It takes a minute for people to organize, right? Grassroots have been happening. Those movements are already moving. More and more people will jump in, pile on for the right cause. That also includes climate change. People will finally give up the ghost and understand that prophets do not, they will no longer prioritize profit over long-term sustainability for the planet and for future generations of human beings, even if they aren't from their own balls, right? And what I mean by that is their children. So people who mostly prioritize the future, thinking about those closest to them. It is a sickness and it's a flaw in the human creature that the further and further away from being related to us do we even care. And you think about generationally, how much do you care about what your great-great-grandfather did? Or how much do you think about or even give a shit about what your great-great-great-grandmother did? Unless they did something super amazing that they're famous for, right? I would argue most people don't know the names of their great-great-grandfathers and great-great-grandmothers. I would say most people do not know those names, myself included in this conversation. It's usually just a few generations at the most that we even care about, right? So that will be changing. We will have a longer view of life, because death will continue to change. The definition of death will continue to change in a way where human beings start prioritizing all life over their life. Isn't this would be fucking beautiful, and I think it's going to be. So this is a big change that will start showing up. Now, much in the way that a giant, the biggest beast on the planet, I think is a sperm whale, or one of the whales is the largest creature on the planet that we know of, right? And now, before you ever see that whale emerge from the surface of the ocean to, spout out its blowhole or whatever, I thought, I was like, this is going to be so poetic if I can get this out. And I couldn't get it out. But the largest creature on the planet, you see it break the surface of the ocean, and you're like, excuse me, damn, where did that sneeze come from? They don't want me to tell you the truth, man. The sneeze keepers, they're trying to keep me in. Anyway, that whale had to start its ascent long before you saw it break the surface with your own eyes, right? So just know this, the movement, the ascent, the upward diving or swimming, I guess it's not is it a dive if it's up? The upward ascent of the giant whale breaking through the surface of the sea, which will be for our purposes here, everyone's understanding of what really needs to be the truth, or what is the truth, right? That's the surface. This movement, this thought, right, that prioritizing the life of all over the life of me, right? That's when the whale breaks through the surface of the ocean and we see it. That's when it becomes, oh, all is more important than me. But it's been happening. It's been swimming towards the surface from the depths of the sea floor, the ocean floor, much earlier than from when you saw it break through the surface. It's a process, right? It's something that has to take time, and it happens. But I'm here to tell you it's happening. It is happening. This is exciting stuff. We're going to do another quick break, and we come back. Maybe we'll do another prediction, another bold prediction, and we'll recap those when we get back. Okay, I'm back. So here we go. Let's recap. 2025, what's going to be happening? I'll be relocated, and I'll be rewarded, and I'll be super shocked. I'll be surprised, and I'll be thrilled about it. I see a crown of white flowers and a setting sun through trees. I don't know what that means. Those imageries. I don't know what the images mean. The world will believe, the United States, over 60% of American citizens, when surveyed, will say they believe definitively in the existence of aliens and UFOs. The world will believe and will understand in a way that they have not understood before the dramatic action that will be needed to combat climate change, because there will be a major baseline shift in how we live on this planet and through weather events. And I think it's an overall change of baseline weather, as opposed to crazy tornadoes, or the biggest tornadoes ever are happening, or the biggest hurricanes ever are happening, or wildfires, mudslides, etc., earthquakes, etc. It won't be because of the big show. It'll be because every day is now becoming different, and in a way that is making us actually change our behavior, put aside our differences, stop holding out hope that it's all just a lefty conspiracy to try to funnel more funds into green technologies, which it doesn't make any sense. But that's where we're going worldwide. The world will prioritize all the lives of all over one. And I hope that applies to the less fortunate, homeless, the mentally ill, the developmentally disabled as well. I wish my prediction could be that we would end homelessness worldwide in 2025. I'm not sensing that at all. So, in fact, there might be more people who become homeless in 2025. Is if I'm sensing anything, it's that, and I think it has to do with potentially has to do with some climate change situations and the climate crisis. It'll actually become known to be a crisis to everyone because it's known to many scientists and people who don't have their head buried in the sand where once beautiful flowers grew, but because of the increasing temperatures, now only sand can exist. The people who don't have their head buried in that sand understand that it's already a climate crisis. I believe that, plastics, drastic measures by the end of 2025 will be taken to potentially outlaw plastics in the food industry. I would love that. That would be a huge thing, and I hope I'm not just projecting my hopes and wants and dreams into my bold predictions. Let's make one more bold prediction that might seem out of left field. Let's see if I can sense anything that's not like climate change or aliens. Let's see. Well, is that right? Is that real? I don't know if that's true or not. Let me close my eyes here. I was getting like universal basic income. I don't think that's a thing. I think that's just another want, dream, and a wish. Coming through is like, I'm sensing from my deepest desires that will happen. Something about bananas. What is it? Why am I seeing a banana? Maybe there's no more bananas. I don't know. Let me see what's happening. Let me see if I can get the banana back, and let's see if I can sense anything that's. Oh, maybe the banana is just representative of comedy, potentially in some way. I think comedy will change, for sure. I think comedy's going to be a lot different by the end of 2025, and by a lot different, what I mean is the comedy that is thrust upon the world as, hey, this is the best comedy out there. It's not going to be what has been happening the last few years, the last 5 years. It's not going to be the same stuff. My sense is there's going to be a move away from that. And this also might be my hope, wish, and dream. Because as you know, I'm not a bro comic. I'm not going to be here and be like, oh, woke people's fucking stupid. Like, oh, snowflakes are fucking idiots. That's not my vibe. And so, first I have the First Amendment, so I can say all these, hurtful words, even though I have no jokes attached to them. Aren't I edgy and aren't I groundbreaking? No, you might be the worst. You might be the worst. You might be the most. Worst is a value judgment. Let's say this. You might be you're just an unskilled craftsperson doing a job quite poorly, in fact. Where's the jokes? Where's the jokes, bro? Anyway, so I think comedy changes. By the end of 2025, there's a shift in comedy. I honestly, and I've thought this for a long time, that sooner or later, I think the world will come around to whatever it is I'm doing in stand-up comedy, and I obviously I keep doing it because I love it. And there's something about connecting with a live audience that's quite frankly, it's irreplaceable and it's unduplicatable. Is that a word? You can't duplicate it. You can't replace it, and it's something that I live for, quite literally. And sooner or later, I think it will, it doesn't matter, even if it doesn't, though. It's not important to me to ever make it. So, by those definitions, because I have my own definitions of what making it means, and I've already made it a long time ago. So, keep that in mind. So, something about comedy changes. I think we get back to I think the world wants to prioritize more silly and less hateful. The pendulum is swinging towards the silly and the loving, and let's call it. If I had to define my comedy, I would. Now there's a I'd say it's cosmic comedy, and how many other people are doing cosmic comedy? There's a handful of us out there who have been doing it for a while. And there's not a lot of us, but there's a handful of us out there doing cosmic comedy. And I think maybe the world swings towards that. Eventually, maybe 2027. I feel like cosmic comedy is going to be probably really at the top of the game in 2027. So I've always thought my 50s were going to be fucking bonkers in a good way. And so that lines up with that. So that is kind of a personal, I guess, bold prediction. By 2027, I will be probably, having a bonkers career. My career already is bonkers. And quite frankly, it's already bonkers as it is, in a good way. So, yeah, I mean, 2025 is going to be exciting. I'm currently planning, scheduling, and trying to book tour dates before filming another hour. That new hour is going to be called. It's going to be something. I don't know. It's going to be called something about whimsy. It's going to be like whimsy. Whimsy is going to play a part in the title of whatever this new comedy special I film is going to be. It's going to be called The Whimsical World of Ryan Singer. Who knows what it'll be? Whimsy is important. I hope we can recapture some whimsy this year. We need it. Whimsy is a weapon, right? To fend off the darkness. Not to attack people, but to defend ourselves from the dark forces of the world, which are, quickly closing in upon us here in about a month, here in this country. Whimsy is a great sword and shield. But so is compassion and empathy and listening. We're going to be right back after we listen to this last commercial break. You don't have to listen to it. Skip it. Just hit that fast forward button like 3 times, and I think you'll be golden. We'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and we're gonna land this plane. We're gonna bring this whale from the bottom of the ocean floor, and we're gonna emerge through the surface of the sea, of the ocean, and we're gonna blow our blowhole out, and we're gonna spray it. Probably it's probably spray our blowhose. Our blowhose. That's hard to say. Blowhose. That's a hard combination of words. I don't know what you're doing right now, but I'm recording a podcast that is about bold predictions. And you're listening to it probably while doing something else simultaneously. And I applaud you for being able to multitask. I'm going to go to the gym. I am going to get on the treadmill, and I'm going to listen to more telepathy tapes, probably knock out another 2 episodes. I listened to 2 episodes already today. And then I'm going to come back, and hopefully I'm going to meditate. I'm going to get out of my body. I'm going to be OBE style, out of body experiencing through the Gateway program. I am going to be maybe finding some time to read as well before I snooze off. Who knows? And then I'll be doing shows tomorrow night at the Commonwealth Sanctuary in Dayton, Kentucky. If you're in Cincinnati, come see me. It's not too late to get tickets. We're doing a 7 o'clock show and a 10 p.m. show. Then I'm back to Los Angeles, and then I'm booking a tour for the late spring and then summer, and we're going to film another special, and it's going to be bonkers. It's going to be so much fun. I'm having so much fun on stage because it doesn't matter, because I'm going to die with $17 million in credit card debt, and it'll all just disappear because it never meant anything anyway. No, that's not necessarily true. They wouldn't let me get to 17 million. I mean, who knows? If the American dollar gets devalued, it could just translate to 17 million currently. Who knows? These tariffs might make the dollar $20. A year from now, are going to be people getting paid minimum wage are going to be making, $270 an hour. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So those are some bold predictions. I'm not going to go into areas of like world personalities. I feel like that's a little bit dangerous. And, I do sense some things that are going to be happening in the next few years. And I don't really feel like I should be putting those out there because some of it's not great. And I'm not trying to not trying to put that vibe out there. But I will say this. I don't feel like the future is written. I feel like we hold the pen and we get to make a choice. Every day, all day long, all night long, we choose what we write. And it doesn't matter if anyone ever reads it because it's our life. And if nothing else, we know what we've written. And, we can tell people that we've written other things, but we know what we wrote. And you get to choose what you write. So why not think about what you want to write? I love what Amy Robeson said. What do you want to think about for the rest of your life? I had this conversation over the weekend with some younger people. My buddy Matthew Jackson and his wife came to the show with his son and his son's girlfriend. And after the show in Bloomington, Indiana, we were talking, and they were talking about their lives because they're, either just graduated or just getting ready to graduate college. And I'm like, well, what do you, and I was like, my friend said, what do you want to think about? What do you want to spend the rest of your life thinking about? And to me, it's such a simple way and a profound way of understanding what you want to do with your life. And because whether we want to really admit it or not, and now the perception of the passing of time, it shrinks and it expands. Sometimes it feels like it takes forever. Sometimes it goes by too fast. But one thing is for certain, our perception of being able to understand our place in the physical world currently is limited to a certain amount of time, of what we would call time. At least in this iteration, in this physical form, as us, as this specific personality that is tapping, that we are noodles, we are rigatoni or whatever it was, floating around in the soup of consciousness, and it flows through us. Now, what do you want to spend your time thinking about? Because you do have limited time. And I truly, truly have been living my life in a way where I'm desperate. I am absolutely desperate to not be on a deathbed wishing that I had done so many different things and wondering why I was so damn afraid and scared to try something, when in that moment I will have such clarity and understanding that it wasn't or should not have been that scary, that I should have just done it, and the worst thing that could have happened would have been that I failed. And guess what? I have failed so much already. And I have often told people failure is one of my favorite things. Might actually be my second favorite thing in the world is failure. My first favorite thing is success, but maybe it shouldn't even be success. Maybe my first favorite thing would be trying. And third could be succeeding. And second could be failure. I don't know. We don't have to come up with a pecking order necessarily. But I have been scared to almost literal death that I will be filled with so many regrets about the things I never tried, the things I never did, the things I never said while I was alive. And I have failed so many times to say things in that moment. My deepest feelings or thoughts or emotions or my fears or my hopes or my dreams. I have failed to do things in the moment. I have backed away. I have cowered in fear from things. I look back now and it's laughable how much I could have done and how much I could have said. And I think to myself, damn, what are you so scared of? And then I think about all the things I did do and all the things I have tried and all the words I have said. And not all of the words needed to be said. Let's be honest. They don't always need to be said. And sometimes we can regret saying things. Or sometimes we can regret doing things. But I think the idea here is that we try. And we have limited time. And what do we want to spend the rest of our lives thinking about? And you can't help it, I guess, this time of year, as the closure of another year is upon us, to take inventory and to think about the big things and think about the little things and obsess about all the in-betweens. But at the end of the day, what do you want to spend the rest of your life thinking about? And I got to tell you, I want to spend the rest of my life thinking about this. The things that spark the joy, the stations where I experience that joy, and the people I can share that joy with. That is what it's about. Because where joy is, love is always present. And if it's not, it soon follows. If you've never tried something before and all of a sudden you feel yourself imbued with a sense of joy, you will be in love with that thing very soon. I mean, that's a thought, that's a theory, and it feels like it tracks. If you're with someone who maybe you've been with for a little while, and all of a sudden you're starting to feel overwhelming joy because of what this person does for you or what this person means to you, you already love them. If you are dedicating your life to a service, a thing, an art, a craft, a process, and it brings you great joy to get in there and do it, figuring out the machinations of whatever this thing is, you love that thing. So where love is, joy is always present. And where joy is, love is always there. Those two go hand in hand, I believe. Although sometimes we can love things that will hurt us, and that's part of being vulnerable. And I think that's also part of living fully, understanding the spectrum of all the things that can and are. The joy, the fear, the sadness, the pain, the love, the excitement. We're all just decent, delicious human pudding. And I just wish that we could be, served up in a proper way for everybody. And everybody could get a taste and understand that, yeah, okay, you're delicious and good too. Now let me taste you. Okay, you're good and delicious too. Now this isn't an argument for polyamory. I'm talking about in general, this is a metaphor. I'm not going to be on my deathbed thinking about that stuff. Thinking about God. I mean, it's inevitable that I will. If I'm lucky enough to have a deathbed, it's inevitable that there will be things that I will regret. I regret things now, but I'm doing my damnedest to make sure that list can be less than 15 pages long. I think you're doing your damnedest to do that too. So well done. My prediction for you, 2025. Anyone who's listening to this program, I can predict this boldly. You will try something that you have never tried before. And not only will you love it, and not only will it bring you joy, it will become an integral part of your life moving forward. What that thing is, I don't know, but it's something you've never done before. I hope to see you at a live show. Maybe that's the thing. No, that's not your life's purpose, to love my stand-up comedy. I do hope to see you at a live show next year, though. RyanSarenComedy.com's got the tour dates. And if I don't see you at a live show, I'll see you at the watering hole on the astral plane. Happy New Year, kids.